Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very interesting, very serious episode for you guys that you definitely want to stick around for. So make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, Kevin Durant has turned into one of the most perplexing figures, or cases rather, in all of sports. Everyone acknowledges that Kevin Durant is an elite basketball player. In fact, he's one of the best basketball players to ever play the sport. But in that very same vein, he is also one of the most discounted players in NBA history. And it all started with a decision he made in 2015 when he decided to join the Golden State Warriors, a team, by the way, that recruited him. It's important that we say this. It wasn't like as if KD just stood up and said, okay, you know what? Let me go join these guys. All the reports say that the Golden State Warriors recruited him, and I believe they came to his house in the Hamptons and asked him to join the team. After he made that move, subsequently, Stephen A. Smith came out in the media and called it the weakest move of any superstar NBA player in the history of the league. And it even caused some friction, the comments that he made about Kevin Durant, it caused some friction between Kevin Durant's mother and Stephen A. Smith, something he has alluded to many times on television. In my opinion, those comments that Stephen A. Smith made about Kevin Durant are what you call a narrative. Now, less than a week ago, less than 5 days ago, Stephen A. Smith was on ESPN First Take. And he was asked to give his thoughts about Kevin Durant this coming season and also to talk a bit about Kevin Durant's legacy. And we want to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Kevin Durant here, because I believe it is a perfect example of Stephen A. Smith creating false narratives about players. So before we go too far, what we want to do is play for you guys. So take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to it. Take a listen to that there.
Should KD regret leaving that dynasty?
Hell yes. I think that's obvious. There's no way around that. To put myself on Front Street, we all know that I was on the record years ago when he left Oklahoma City, calling it the weakest move that I'd ever seen by a superstar. It wasn't meant to indict him as a player because I think he's phenomenal. I think when healthy, Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet. That's how I feel about his skill set. I think he's that lethal. But to be in a Game 7 of a conference finals, to lose that Game 7 after being up 3-1, and then to go to the team that beat you 3 weeks later, I thought was weak. Having said all of that, it doesn't take away from the fact that the man went there, won back-to-back titles, and they would have blown Toronto out of the building, out of the country Canada. If Kevin Durant was healthy against Kawhi Leonard, there's no way in hell the Toronto Raptors would have beaten the Golden State Warriors in 6 games in the NBA Finals had Kevin Durant and ultimately Klay Thompson in that Game 6 had not gotten hurt. Having said all of that, you leave after all of that. And where you go matters. And who you go to play with matters. Steph Curry is a preeminent superstar in this game and the greatest shooter we have ever seen. And now he won. And last year, everybody, in that camp got mad at me because I said, if the Golden State Warriors win, Keyshawn, then people are going to be talking more about KD leaving Steph to join Kyrie than they would be talking about his 2 titles. Everybody was in an uproar on that side of the camp. So what happened? After the season ended and Steph Curry won the championship and the NBA Finals MVP, what are they talking about? You left Steph Curry. What the hell were you thinking? So now that we look at it, that's the narrative. And the only way to overcome that narrative is for you to show up in Brooklyn this year. We already know you could average 30. You averaged 29 last year. We know what KD going to do on the basketball court. We're talking about not what you're going to do individually, Keyshawn, in terms of your own numbers, your own stats, and what you bring to the table. We're talking about your ability to galvanize the troops in Brooklyn and to make a legitimate run at the title. That's where everything is really under a microscope for KD. That's where the legacy is in jeopardy of being tarnished. Not about his ability, not about his greatness. There's nothing to talk about there. That is cemented. This brother is one of the all-time greats. But you will be talking about him as a leader, the face of a franchise, and whether or not you're a guy that deserved the status that LeBron has had, that Steph Curry has now had.
What I want you guys to pay very close attention to is the very first thing that was said in that soundbite. Molly said, should KD regret leaving the Golden State Warriors? That was the quip. That was the question. To that, he then responded immediately, by the way, I think he should. But wait a second. You said when he joined that team, it was the weakest move of any superstar in NBA history. That's what you said when he decided to join that team. So why should he regret leaving the team? Because after all, him going there was the weakest move, according to you, in NBA history. This is a classic example of Stephen A. Smith talking out of both sides of his mouth. Which is it? Ladies and gentlemen, this is how narratives are created about players. This is how it's done. It has nothing to do with what happened, but it has everything to do with the narrative surrounding the event that took place. That's the key. That's the key here. You're saying that we are going to find out what KD is made of in Brooklyn. But in the same vein, you're saying he should regret leaving the Warriors. So which is it? Should he have stayed or should he have gone? Essentially, what Stephen A. Smith has created here is a lose-lose scenario for Kevin Durant. If he stays, he's weak. He's weak. If he leaves, he's dumb for leaving. So what should he do? What should he do? Now, here is where he truly got exposed, and I want you guys to bear with me. When KD left the Golden State Warriors, who did he leave to go play with? I believe he went to go play with Kyrie Irving, right? I think we can all agree with this. If there were people here in the studio with us, I'm sure everybody would say, yes, yay. Yes, he did. Good. When LeBron left the Miami Heat, who did he go play with? I believe that person was the same Kyrie Irving. I never heard anyone say that it was dumb for LeBron James to leave the Miami Heat, a team he had just won 2 finals championships with consecutively and back-to-back finals MVPs, to go play with Kyrie. I never heard it. Did you hear it? I never heard it. I was following the NBA back then. I never heard it. It was never said. There's no audio anywhere that you can pull up where they said that. He had done essentially what KD just did when he left the Golden State Warriors. He went to the Heat, created a super team. It was not a super team before he got there. It was created. That's the only difference. The same result, 2 different avenues created the same result. And that team was so good that at one point, they won 22 games in a row. He won back-to-back finals MVPs because it was the most talented team in the NBA at that time, and NBA fans hated the Miami Heat. Forget about what these people that started watching basketball in 2015 are talking about. For those of us who will remember, who have a memory longer than 5 years, we know. And when they lost to the Mavs in 2011, people were celebrating. Why in the hell do you think LeBron was saying, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7? What makes you think he was saying that? Did you hear him say that about the Lakers? Hell no, because he knew the Lakers were not that good. He knew this. He knew this. And even LeBron's former teammate Iman Shumpert said that was an unheard of alliance. He said it on Vlad TV. And all the NBA hated them for it. But now, when you look at LeBron, he celebrated. But when the KD leaves the Warriors, we're going to sit up here and question his legacy. This is some alarming hypocrisy here. There's some serious hypocrisy taking place here. It's one thing to say he has to win. That's one thing. But all this other stuff is total madness. All of this other stuff y'all are talking about it. And Kevin Durant is not my favorite player. You will not find a clip anywhere on the internet where I said KD was my favorite. He's not even close to being my favorite. When KD's playing, I'm like, damn, I'm not like, oh, I got to go see it. I don't care. I don't care. He's a great player, but he's not my favorite player whatsoever. I'm calling it like I see it. LeBron was a made man after he won those 2 finals, those NBA championships and finals MVPs. He was a made man. But with KD, we still got to sit up here and question his legacy. It is absolutely absurd. It's absurd. It is one thing to say the guy needs to win, but all this other stuff they talking out here, I'm not with it. You need to explain to me why a double standard exists for the exact same things. Let's get to that part. Let's get to that. Catch y'all on the next episode.